Let's start in West Africa, where Nigeria's government is preparing to prosecute about 500 people whom it has detained on allegations of tapping into the country's pipelines and stealing oil. Now, this crackdown targets a criminal enterprise that drains up to a fifth of the country's entire oil output. The governor of Delta State, Emmanuel Uduaghan, told reporters after a meeting with President Goodluck Jonathan that the government is preparing cases for oil theft, which carries a prison sentence of up to 21 years behind bars. Now, gangs in Nigeria do tap into pipelines in the creeks and the swamps of the Niger Delta, siphoning off hundreds of thousands of barrels of crude a day in operations known as bunkering. About 90% of the stolen fuel is then sold on in international markets to criminal networks in the Balkans or refiners in Singapore, according to analysts. The rest, however, is refined for local consumption, filling a gap left by Nigeria's fairly defunct legitimate refineries. Some cross-border news now. Nigeria's Guaranty Trust Bank, or GT Bank as it's better known, has reached an agreement to acquire a 70% stake in Kenya's FINA Bank Limited for $100 million. Now, that deal, however, is subject to regulatory approvals on both sides of the continent. FINA Bank has assets worth about $338 million with operations in Kenya, Rwanda and Uganda. In a statement, the Nigerian lender said it will enter East Africa through a multi-country and scalable platform, thereby expanding its international presence in sub-Saharan Africa. GT Bank shares have gone up by 13% since the start of the year. They inched up 1.66% to 26.4 naira per share following the announcement on Thursday. GT Bank is now valued at roughly $5 billion. The majority stake will be acquired through a share purchase from current shareholders and, of course, quite a bit of direct investment as well. In the Horn of Africa and for many cities around the world, taxi services are, well, for lack of a better word, pretty common. But for Mogadishu in Somalia, hailing a cab by itself is a welcome sign of improved security. As CCTV's Mohammed Hirmoge now reports, taxi companies have emerged as the city opens up for investment and business. And they're quite literally changing the face of commuter services in a city that's slowly picking itself up from years of internal conflict.
A fleet of taxis clearly marked with yellow brands is the new face of transport in Mogadishu. Mogadishu taxi is the first of its kind here after more than 2 decades.
We want to offer the taxi services that has been missing in this city. We also want to make business. We have to provide quality service. We're cheaper and more efficient.
Years of conflict kept taxis off the roads in the capital. But security in Mogadishu is improving thanks to the efforts of the troops from the African Union. So the taxis are back, business is flourishing, and there is competition too.
We are bringing more taxis, and we would offer cheaper rates than other companies. We plan to have 57 taxis operating in this city, and we will work 24 hours a day.
Available on-call taxis offer both safer and more reliable service, replacing what was previously individual drivers with private vehicles offering similar services. For Mogadishu, it's yet more evidence that this city is on the right road. Mohammed Hirmoge, CCTV, Mogadishu.
Right, some early numbers from the markets now for you. Let's make a quick run through those. Of course, as usual, Egypt is closed. The all-share index in Nigeria, however, is higher by 0.94. The all-share index in South Africa in the red by 0.77%. And the 20-share index here in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, higher by about 0.45. And as I mentioned earlier, the Egyptian market closed for the day. We'll have another update for you, 1700 GMT.